Well, I think that's a good job for the Minister of Information and Public Orientation to do. Because like I told you, there are fundamental, root causes. And you will see that this particular incident in Uromi has brought out other things like religious intolerance, ethnicity, where people don't, these are root causes. These are things that they have in them that, they've not been able to express openly. And when things like this happen, then they start talking. I saw that video, where the guy was talking about killing of Southerners because they are Muslims, and anybody who insult their leader is supposed to be killed and stuff like that. I think that we should be past that kind of rhetorics, and we should be able to, adjust people's mind to change that kind of narrative. Because if we allow these things to fester, like I said, many Christians were killed in the north. Nothing really happened. And then, of course, when there is a killing in the south, then you see a lot of people coming out, and then even the governor of Kano State was really talking tough the other day. But, the root causes have to be addressed. It is not what we are just seeing. Those ones are symptoms. The root causes of ethnicity, the root causes of religious intolerance have to be looked into properly to avoid this kind of situation in future.
Finally, the Edo State government says, or governor now says 14 people have been arrested and moved to Abuja for interrogation. That's 14 people arrested in connection to the crime. What protective measures should be adopted, and what steps can be taken to ensure improved working relations between the government and local security outfits? I know you mentioned certain steps, but now in terms of enhancing intelligence gathering and response strategies against criminal elements in the country.
Oh, well, the governor has taken some steps to make sure that, this illegality, because of course, jungle justice is an illegal thing to do. And of course, they've been arrested, they've been taken for interrogation, but that's not where it should end. I think this is the time to now gather these vigilantes or whoever, and then sit down with them, and then, of course, properly seek some advice from either the DSS and the police to make sure that they structure the vigilante properly. Who is going to supervise them? What is their communication systems? Who do they report to? And stuff like that. So this is the best time to do that. Because if you just arrest some people because tempers are high, and then, you allow people the vigilantes to continue until they meet another set of people again with guns and ammunition, then there is nothing we can do about it, because people are angry. People have lost their family members, and you cannot overlook that. And if the vigilantes are being formed to take care of that situation, then the governor should come in and, of course, formally structure them, because we don't want them to go into illegality, but we want the services they provide. So let us formalize this, and then, of course, create certain structures, communication lines and stuff like that for them.
Well, as we speak, the community tempers are high, like you mentioned, in the communities. They are scared of a reprisal, and hopefully the government controls the situation before that reprisal is carried out, which will be far worse. Mr. Dennis Amakri, former Assistant Director at the Department of State Services, we appreciate you sharing your thoughts on the program. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it on this episode of the program. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time.
Welcome to the program. I am Joy Uchejem, and we begin in Kaduna State, where a measles outbreak at Ongwan Kanawa community, Zaria local government area of the state, has claimed 2 lives with 20 others affected. Now, according to health experts, the outbreak is attributed to years of parents' refusal to immunize their children. Following the incident, the Kaduna State government, UNICEF, and WHO are working together to strengthen disease surveillance and launch emergency revaccination campaigns in Zaria and environs. Describing the measles outbreak as a humanitarian emergency, the UNICEF Chief of Field Office in Kaduna, Gerida Birukila, warned that vaccine shortages were compounding efforts to halt the spread. And to commemorate the 2025 World Immunization and National Polio Week, the Lagos State government, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and key health partners, has launched a rigorous advocacy campaign in Lagos, calling for united action to eradicate polio and protect zero-dose children. The event held in Alausa brought together stakeholders from across the health sector under the theme Humanly Possible, Saving Lives Through Immunization. TV360's Okoyemi Olusheni brings us more in this next report.
It is more than just a walk, it is a movement. From the Secretariat through the streets of Alausa, health advocates, government officials, development partners and volunteers march to raise awareness and promote equitable access to vaccines for every Nigerian child. The advocacy work culminated in a high-level stakeholder engagement where the wife of the Lagos State Governor, Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, reaffirmed the resolve to leave no child behind in the immunization drive. She declared that the state is committed to tracking and reaching every unimmunized child, especially those missed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Referencing Governor Sanwo-Olu's Themes Plus agenda, she said the fight against vaccine-preventable diseases must continue until polio is totally eradicated.
Saving lives immunization challenges us to do everything within our power to ensure, again, no child suffers or dies from a disease we have the tools and knowledge to prevent. In line with the vision of our governor, your governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, and the Teams Plus agenda, it prioritizes health and health development. Lagos State remains resolute, and I keep on repeating it, no child should be left behind.
Speaking further, the UNICEF Chief of Field Office for Southwest Nigeria identified the importance of trust and community education in fighting vaccine hesitancy. She warned that while vaccines have saved millions globally, misinformation remains a deadly threat.
Today, 2 million Nigerian children remain unimmunized, or zero dose, as we like to call them. Yet since 1974, vaccines have saved over 150 million lives worldwide. What that represents is more than 3 million lives per year, or 6 lives every minute in the last 5 decades. Vaccines are very powerful.
Stakeholders from the World Health Organization and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency called for increased domestic investment, stronger outreach to remote communities.
WHO, as a leading partner in health, is calling on the Lagos State government to continue to conduct and support high-quality polio vaccination campaigns to achieve and sustain a society free of any forms of polio viruses. Also, we need to increase domestic investments to secure sustainable immunization financing.
Other stakeholders also highlighted the importance of youth involvement, grassroots advocacy, and community-led impact. They praised the dedication of frontline health workers and reaffirmed the Lagos State commitment to ensuring that no child in any location is left behind.
The government, if we are trying to do any activities and you are not involving the youth, then we are not ready to move as a government. Hence, my presence here got here early as requested, and we will continue to work with all of the stakeholders to ensure that we achieve this objective.
So I'm also challenging each and every one of us to be an ambassador for this cause. We have to spread the news. We know the awareness is there already. After the awareness, what is next? I want all of us to ask ourselves, how do we convey this message, especially to the rural area?
As part of our intensified efforts, Lagos will join the nation in launching the National Immunization Plus Day (NIPDs), starting after the World Immunization Week from 3rd to 6th May 2025, to ensure